Greetings, GameCola faithful, and welcome to the GameCola podcast. This is podcast number 134, opening up the door, and I am your host and podcast commander, Joseph Martin.
I'm Anna Bryniarski, GameCola's social media trash queen.
I'm Dan Conlin. I am in nasal allergy hell.
Poor Dan. I'm sorry about your nose.
It's an unfortunate nose.
Who really knows about the nose? That's the only joke I have about noses. I apologize. It's time for video games on a podcast.
Oh,
Who's
boy.
excited for video games on a podcast? I am.
Nice.
You know what video games I'm excited for?
What?
Super Smash Brothers.
What?
There was a new Super Smash Brothers thing today. I don't know if you guys caught it, but they put out the update video on The Hero from Dragon Quest, the series, the video game, the series, the video game. If you aren't familiar, if you haven't been keeping up to date with the DLC characters, the newest one that's coming out is The Hero. The next one to come out after Piranha Plant, then Joker, then The Hero, which is the 4 different hero characters in one character. They're different skins for the same character from Dragon Quest. And then next will be Banjo-Kazooie. And then there's still the 5th final one that we don't know about. But they put out the video for The Hero. It looks interesting. I saw some things about it, and then when I looked and saw people talking about it, I thought, yep, that's what I thought people would be complaining about. Because there is a good deal of random chance incorporated into this character. So, for example, when you do a smash attack, there's a certain % chance that you will get a critical hit, and the smash will just be better for no reason except random chance. Another thing is that if you press your down special, down B, it'll pull up a menu with 4 random spells, and they all do wildly different things, like slow down your opponent, give you a temporary power boost, give you a temporary speed boost, let you turn invincible for a bit, give you a projectile shield for a little bit. So there are lots of people in fighting game communities in general. I think that there's a general distaste for anything even a little bit random.
I'm not a fan.
So it's definitely something that I have seen people sort of complaining about a bit. But I don't. It also seems kind of clunky. Like there's cheap randomness, and then there's frustrating randomness, I guess.
Yeah.
Like where it might not be overpowered in terms of being random, because you do have to stand still and select from a menu, even if you can do that pretty quickly. You still have to read the menu and then figure out which one you're going to press and then press it, which, I mean, people who are really good will be able to get fluid at it, but it won't be the sort of thing that you can just cheaply spam. But it might be frustrating if you press the thing and you don't get good options, and then you reset it, you press the thing, you don't get good options, and you're just like, what's even the point of this thing? And then you just never use it, would be the concern. They talked about the voice actors in the video, which I thought was interesting, and one of them did the voice acting for Link in the first 2 Smash Brothers games, and then they played audio clips from the video game, and I was like, oh yeah, that just sounds exactly like Link. Just like the yep and the yes. The moveset also looks fairly Link inspired, sort of like, you know how Captain Falcon and Ganondorf aren't clones of each other, but their movesets are really similar in visual style. I think it seems kind of like that, with a bunch of extra magic stuff for the specials thrown in. It said it was coming out today on the video, but I've checked my Nintendo Switch and I've tried to update to the latest thing of Smash, and it has not done anything. It won't let me update it, so I don't know if it's actually out officially yet. It may have been delayed, or they may be, because they were also talking about it's a 4.0 update in general. The other things that they're adding on are online tournaments that you can participate in. So it doesn't seem like you setting up your own tournament as much as you can say, I want to queue into a tournament, and then it'll set up a tournament with a bunch of people who wanted to be in a tournament, and then you get to play that. And then there might be some tournament events that you can participate in, where if you win the tournament, you get, a special thing that is a status symbol, I guess. When you win the video game Tetris 99. maybe.
What?
That's foreshadowing. That's called foreshadowing. I'm trying to think what else. So they're adding a bunch of music in the 4.0 update. The online thing was the big one. New Me stuff. That's it. So it seems like it'll be a fine update. I wish I could have gotten my hands on the hero character before the podcast, but seems like it'll at least be interesting, and we'll see what people like. It was like fan favorite. But yeah. Anna, you had some news about a video game that you like.
So, The Sims 4, I think relatively recently, maybe like 3 weeks ago, came out with a new thing. They have a whole new screen for the cover art for the game is different. So when you go into Origin, if you play it through Origin, it'll show up as this new blue background with a bunch of different Sims. And I think I saw something that said this was the first Sims cover with a like same-sex couple, so that's cool if true. But yeah, they are there. I see them. But they have a whole new opening screen and everything, which it's taking me a little bit to get used to. The whole bottom half is just what you have, like in terms of expansion packs and everything, and the top is what it used to be, which is just a big screen with Sims doing the things from those games that you own, as well as some trailers for different packs and their social medias up top. But the biggest thing that they've added is actually something else I want to mention is that for June they added like some flags and some pride stuff, which is pretty cool. But
I remember them talking about that at E3.
Yeah, I didn't watch E3.
We did a video about it, Anna.
What? What's E3?
You didn't watch the video?
What's GameCola? Anyway,
did?
But the biggest thing they added, I think, is the fact that you can now make a sim with a background story or a pre-established like job, pre-established amount of money, aspirations, and personality traits, which you can't change because you already did that with this quiz.
So it's
but you can
Sims
change. You can change what they look like and everything.
It's turning Sims into D&D, is what you're saying.
kind of, but not really. So it's okay. I would rather pick everything for myself and then start off from square one as usual.
But that's still an option, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it asks, do you want to do this fun quiz or do you want to just do what you normally do?
Now, I heard the words that you just said were fun quiz, Anna.
Do you guys want to take a fun quiz?
A fun quiz?
Dan?
Well, as long as it's a fun one.
Dan, are you ready to take a fun quiz?
This sounds like a trap. I've gotten burned in school before, and I'm not going through that again.
Oh my gosh.
No. It's less high school and more BuzzFeed, is my understanding.
That is arguably worse.
I had teachers who would just be like, oh no, it's a fun thing. I'm like, no, you're wrong. It's still a quiz. All right. So we're going to take a fun quiz today on the GameCola podcast. Hi, would you like to create...
Keep going.
No. Okay. Hi, would you like to create my story? We'll start with a fun, it says fun in the title, fun personality quiz. All
right.
Afterwards, you can customize my appearance. You can say okay or no.
That's not part of the quiz? That's not part of the quiz, customizing the appearance? You can just ask what I look like and say brown hair.
Brown hair, and that's the only question about their looks.
And it's just a pile of brown hair. With a very well-developed personality.
So, my roommate's going to be also joining in on the fun. So let's go.
All right, let's go.
Let's start with an easy question. What age am I? Young adult, or elder?
The 3 ages, of course.
All 3 of them right here for us to choose.
I think we want to have a character with a lot of potential. So I think we want to start with young adult.
All right, Dan.
I can be convinced otherwise.
All right, Dan, what do you say?
I'm for young adult, though it depends on what kind of a commitment you want to make here.
That is true. An elder would be if we mess up the elder, we don't have to live with our mistake for as long.
My roommate says elder.
Okay, let's go with elder then. That way,
They said young
maybe
adult,
this
but
is
then I mentioned you said elder, and Joe went, all right, elder.
A young adult, we can see what they're going to turn into.
All right, elder.
They have a future.
Oh, we went to young adult, sorry.
Oh, okay. Young adult. We're very good at quiz.
What kind of group do I want to be part of? The kind that betters society? Me and my imaginary friends? Or I lead, others follow?
I dig imaginary friends.
Yeah, that seems on brand.
All right, it's
for
unanimous.
the GameCola podcast.
The least amount of pressure.
Yes.
True.
Again, a trial run.
This is another good one for...
We're creating a whole human person. We gotta be careful.
At social events, I am the life of the party. That person who brings a
No.
guitar. Or picking fights.
Well, we're definitely not two. I'm morally opposed to
All
two.
3 of those are terrible.
What were 1 and 3 again?
The life of the party or picking fights.
What? Those can't possibly be the only 3 things you
There's
do at a
another option
party,
here.
Sims 4.
I can ask for a new question.
Well, no, we have to pick. Those are I guess those are the 3 things. What if we go to a party and we don't have anything to do?
I could go with the guitar, because that doesn't necessarily mean people will actually listen to you.
Is it bad that I almost prefer pick fights than to bring a guitar?
I would take fight because I don't want
Fine, we can take a guitar.
They're
already the worst.
Picking fights because we do not want our child to be a coward, is the response I received.
There's more than just those 2 extremes of being a coward and picking fights. There's something in between.
And it's
Are you
apparently called guitar. We're doing guitar.
All right.
My soul is crushed. We've already ruined our person. We've already ruined our human
Going
being.
for guitar.
Guitar is heavy, you can fight people off with it.
guitar in a fight, though.
He's gonna use that car in a fight. The guitar in a fight, though. It's time to hit the nightclub, and
No, we just explicitly said no hitting.
do we want do we want a new question before I read the answers, or
No, keep going.
We gotta hear that.
Cannot. We gotta do it. We can't just cheat our way to a person. We have to. This is what happens when you make a person. There are no shortcuts.
this is what happens when you have a kid? They give you this personality.
Exactly.
It's time to hit the nightclub and 1, dance the night away. 2, scope out the DJ. 3, hang with my friends.
Now we do only have imaginary friends, which
Very
might make
true.
hang out with friends either very easy or very difficult.
Well,
It's always easy.
it is.
But is it easy to imagine when there's a whole bunch of noise and stuff happening? I feel like to have imaginary friends, you gotta have like a quiet space where you can really focus on bringing an entire consciousness into existence through your brain.
Hey, to spend the whole night in the bathroom.
And just hang out in the bathroom.
That might be what hanging out with friends would end up being in this case, then. In both senses of the word. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to hang out with friends.
We're gonna hang with friends?
We're definitely not talking to the DJ.
But what if we want to scope out that DJ? What if they're hot?
Find him.
Absolutely not.
God, can you
It's
hear
a
anything
place of
she's
work.
saying?
I hear that she's talking, but I keep talking myself, and that takes precedent over all other sounds.
She's saying some very funny things, Joseph.
They'll probably be picked up in your audio.
I hope so. Alright, so I guess we could hang with friends. Our imaginary friends.
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom. How much voodoo do I do to my friends for my
If your
own
roommate
amusement?
wants to be on the podcast, just bring her over.
Come closer. Alright, one sec. I have to
Introduce
do some
yourself.
Fun stuff. One sec.
Introduce yourself to the podcast.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm Anna's roommate.
Hello, welcome to the podcast, Emily.
Thank you. I can
Um,
barely hear you because I'm listening to you via Anna's headphones.
That'll work. This is standard fare for the GameCola podcast. What's the next question, Anna?
How much voodoo do I do to my friends for my own amusement? 1. All
We've taken a bit of a turn here.
Sims 4, do you know how people work?
I'd like to see where this tangent came from.
1, all the voodoo. 2, some of the voodoo. No voodoo is the final answer.
I like the second
That
one.
is such a
like,
lazy
I'm gonna do
question.
Some of it. I'm not going to commit.
You gotta.
That's the thing. I don't think the kind of person we've established can't do no voodoo. Definitely.
You gotta also establish what the parameters are of this voodoo. You can't just say voodoo as if it's an all-encompassing thing.
Well, if it's Sims 4, it's definitely real in the game, in the video game Sims 4.
It absolutely
So we have to take
is.
that into account.
Well, if they're not going to explain the terms and conditions to us, we might as well say some so we don't get trapped in this contract.
Yeah, that leaves us a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah.
I agree. Some voodoo.
All right, some voodoo.
I
I
press the button.
Well, I pressed the button. It's the weekend and I have nothing to do. 1, invite some friends over. 2,
Anna, you're supposed to be talking about the video game Sims 4.
Do they know we're playing their game right now?
invite some friends over. Walk to the park. Or stay in and relax.
Stay in and relax.
Stay and relax. Unanimous decision.
All right. What do I grow in my garden? 1, fruits and vegetables. 2, flowers. 3, weeds.
Quote unquote.
I like the double. I just want the third one because it's the only one that's a double entendre.
I just wish it was in quotes.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Come on, Sims.
You know,
It's a podcast. They don't know it's not in quotes. It's in quotes, everyone listening to the podcast,
Yes,
and that's why we're going to pick it.
Don't worry about it.
Agreed.
How many more questions are there?
There are a good few.
All right, let's keep
Friends.
going.
What's the best music to dance to? 1, high energy hoppin' music. 2, I make my own jams. Or 3, slow music. Make it romantic.
I make my own jams could technically mean nothing. And I'm gonna
Right,
go.
but we
I'm
are
gonna go
talking
with
about a
that.
person who has imaginary friends, so they definitely have a creative spirit.
Maybe not for music though.
they're not
I
ready
can
to
make entire people with my mind, but musical notes? That's ridiculous. Calm down. Way out of my scope. I could be convinced of 1 or 2.
You don't want to make it romantic?
I don't want to dance to slow music. It's boring. You just like...
That's why
I can only dance if there's enough time between the beats that I don't have to commit to whatever dumb thing I'm doing. If it's slow and you start doing a dumb thing, that's just what you're doing for a while. If it's
That's
fast...
why you dance with somebody else.
Right, but then you could both do a dumb thing. And that's
Fair.
twice the embarrassment.
Fair.
I'm going to go with high energy, just because I feel
wanna
like that
go
covers the
jams,
most
make
bases.
my own jams.
That's the safest.
All right,
Make us
Dan.
whatever we want.
You can just jump up and down to fast music. You can't just jump up and down to slow music. That's not how gravity works.
I can make some hoppin' jams on a recorder. I can also make it slow and romantic. I have choices.
Dan, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking if there was another option that's just no, but since there isn't, I'll just default to whatever the room wants.
All right, well,
we're tied.
make my own jams it is. I'm the tiebreaker if Dan decides not to be. As a child, I wanted to work, 1, in outer space, 2, for myself, or 3, on robots.
First good question.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you know me. My vote's always for the robot.
I'm going with robots too.
Yeah.
Robots it is. A coworker messed up. Now our boss is mad. What do I do? 1, blame them. 2, cover for them. 3, quit. I don't need this stress.
3 is just the biggest mood.
Oh no.
First sign of adversity, a jump ship. I dig that.
Anyway, so quit.
Yep, that seems like what we're going with.
Yep.
Flowers look best when they're 1, blooming in my garden. 2, in a beautiful arrangement. 3, dead during winter.
Well, we've already established that we don't have flowers in our garden, so we can't pick one.
We did choose weeds. So if we have weeds, they gotta be dead, right?
I mean, they don't have to be. Dead during winter. Is everybody...
Yeah, that's okay.
I like dead.
All right.
I'll allow it.
Who are we? Let's see. Oh, he has a mustache.
Ooh, he's right out of the 70s. Hello!
Here, let me get a nice picture for you.
Yeah, please send me... Can you send me a widescreen, potentially?
Thanks for joining, Emily.
No problem.
We did it. We created a whole human person.
We did it, guys.
What's his name?
Well, give me a minute to find paint.
Yeah, we can't pick the name without knowing what he looks like.
Yeah, you need to know first. But also you need to know the rest of him, which is here he is.
There we
Beautiful
go.
boy.
He's got cool flames. Maybe are those
They're
flames?
not
They look.
flames. It's just a pattern. All right, but
Well, it's a flame pattern.
let me tell you about his career.
Okay.
Entertainer. Skill.
That sounds about right.
Skill, programming. Skill, guitar. Starting funds, standard. He wants to be chief of mischief, and that gives him the trait of dastardly. He's also He's also erratic.
Is that where the mustache came from?
Yes, I hope so. He is erratic, gloomy, and a music lover.
Because we told that I feel like it extrapolated a lot from Make My Own Jams. Like I feel like it took a lot with that one. That seems like half of this character. All right, what's his name?
All right, what is his name?
Well, this is Uncle Jesse's midlife crisis if I've ever seen it.
Not Uncle Jesse having a midlife crisis. This is the personification of Uncle Jesse's midlife crisis as a human being.
First name Have, last name Mercy.
How about...
I really liked Have Mercy. That was a good one. That was a good Full House joke there.
I'm feeling Derek. Derek Skins.
Do you want to spell that for me?
Yeah, hold on. I'll put it in Discord.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm glad we both spelled Derek the same way.
Derrik. Oh, there should be another K there. SKINNNVZ.
Easy. All right, Derek.
Skins.
Okay.
Skins.
That's where the K was.
Yeah.
Not in Derek, because I almost just left two.
I mean, there is also in Derek.
All right, 2 Ks in Derek.
No, 1 K in I wrote it in the Discord.
All right, here he is. This is our child, Derek Skins.
What a good podcast we have, everyone.
So, that's The Sims 4. With that, I'm gonna start playing with the Derek. Oh my god. Alright, 1 sec. Later. I'll show it to you guys in a second. 1 sec.
I'm waiting with bated breath. Anna, where's the picture of my boy? There he is.
Okay, but I also have a much better one.
It's slightly unnerving with him looking directly at me.
Yeah.
Oh no, this one's so much
preferred better. I much preferred the 3/4 turn than those head-on shot there.
There he is.
Oh, look at that mug.
Perfect. He's perfect.
He's perfect. This is our beautiful boy. All right, I'm gonna be playing this for a while. So like,
everybody, welcome to the podcast, Derek Skins.
Derek Skins.
Well, I think that's probably the best advertisement that Sims 4, the video game, is ever gonna get.
You're welcome, EA.
Alright, let's talk about more other video games. We spent a lot of time creating a whole human person.
It takes a while.
It was time well spent.
Yes.
But I wanted to talk... Have you guys been keeping up with Pokémon Masters at all?
Not at all.
Nope.
So it's the Pokemon mobile game, and they just put out like a whole bunch of like gameplay demonstration videos and like mechanics explanation videos a couple days ago, and I watched through all of them to see like what the game was going to be like, because for the most part all we knew was that there were trainers in it, and from the games like champions and gym leaders and some character trainers, and then you could like recruit them to your team. But it seems like the style of game that it's going to be is the kind like Fire Emblem Heroes, I think is what it's called. Or it's the game where you can get these characters and they have like star rankings. and then that's like how they get on your team. So instead of like going through the game and forming a team with like just 2 other people and then that's it, you'll get like pretty much probably most if not all of the characters on your team in some capacity and just like train them up and have better versions. Like if you get a duplicate, then that just gives you a stronger version of that character, and I'm sure there's some, whatever mechanism gives you the opportunity to get more characters is probably some kind of battle. And so you complete some kind of battle and then you can get characters powered up for your team. It looked interesting, but I don't have a lot of experience with that format to know how badly they could mess it up with like monetization practices. The thing that scared me the most was that it was marketed as free to start,
Oof.
which is a term I have not heard before, but I am very afraid of.
There's nothing good about that term. I don't like that at all.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like one of those things, because free to play, the best case scenario is that it just has microtransactions and they've decided that's what they're going to call having microtransactions. The worst case scenario is that like you literally can only play like a quarter of the game, if that, before you just have to start paying money.
Yeah.
I think that would probably be about the worst case.
That's what free to start sounds like.
It is what it sounds like. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But the gameplay itself looked interesting. It's basically a triple battle. And like it says, like, because it says that you start with your character and like you have a Pikachu and you don't really get to pick with that. But you can switch out other people. Like you don't have to play with the character that has the Pikachu in all the battles, for example. You can build teams of exclusively the characters like gym leaders and all the other things. You don't have to use your starting player character. That's just what you start with, it seems like, which I appreciate. That was one of the things I was going to be concerned about, because like if you had to use Pikachu, that was going to be pretty limiting in terms of the fun stuff you could do to try to make different combinations. But the mechanics seem fairly in depth. Whether or not the challenge then would be to make sure that there's situations where there's not just one easy, very good strategy to use all the time. Because it doesn't matter how deep your mechanics are if the best strategy is very simple. And so we'll see about that. But it seems like they're definitely trying to really expand into the mobile market. I would even consider this more of a sequel to Pokemon Go than Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, honestly.
Well, I mean, it is mobile.
Right. There is that. But then just also like the styling of everything. There was lots of like HUD elements that reminded me a lot of Pokemon Go, like when you were bringing up like different status things. I don't know. So it'll be interesting. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it, and if it's free to start, I will jump into it and see what it is like. I might not stick with it depending on how it is monetized, but it's definitely on my radar. Have any of you guys ever played a game with like the star heroes on it? I know Diana played the Fire Emblem one. I talked to her about it a little bit.
I think I tried the Star Wars one and I think of one of the Final Fantasy ones. Never really stayed with it. Just didn't really seem like much of an incentive to keep going.
What did you do with the characters once you got them in those games?
You fought just a bunch of battles with them.
But like, what were the battles like?
Let me see. In Final Fantasy, it was pretty typical Final Fantasy fare. Turn-based and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of them had sprites, some were 3D models in other games. The Star Wars one, I think it was like a 3D turn-based thing, sort of reminiscent of Final Fantasy, but I feel like a lot of them are going to go that route.
Yeah. I don't know. Pokemon may have the mechanical depth to support it, because I play enough Pokemon Showdown to know that just playing a Pokemon battle for no other reason than to do it is enough incentive for me to keep playing the video game. So there'd have to be something that would be barring me from enjoying it, I think. And I'm not saying that it's not easy for that to happen, but I think my hope would be that the base mechanics of Pokemon are robust enough that it leads to interesting 3v3 battles in this format. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yep, it's up to them, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I think it might be about time to talk about video games we've been playing in recent time.
If anyone wants an update on Derek, he is playing a violin and not being social with the people who are welcoming him to the neighborhood.
My boy.
That's perfect. That's exactly what he told him. We told him to be as a person.
Man,
We've
what
done
a good
it.
boy.
We did so good on our first try. Anna, aside from The Sims 4, which you are currently playing what video games have you played in recent time?
I have played a little bit of Stardew Valley. I got into Minecraft again for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That seems to be the thing these days.
Yeah, which I didn't notice until Cam mentioned it when I started playing it again. But those two things, I actually bought it for my Switch, which I would rather play it on the computer, but having it on Switch is nice.
Just for the portability of it?
Yep.
You're talking about Minecraft in particular, right?
Yes.
What's it like on Switch versus computer? What's different about it?
Just the controls, really.
Everything else is pretty much the same?
Yeah. It's mostly just the controls. Everything else is pretty much
Minecraft's on
the same.
everything.
It is. Tetris 99, which...
coming back to that foreshadowing, I see.
Foreshadowing. I only wanted to talk about how I got to third place for the first time like a month ago, which was really impressive for me. Because I'm
very proud of you, Anna.
Thank you. At least somebody is. Yeah, got to third place for the first time, and I was real excited, and then I started playing again, and I immediately messed up so bad that I was just like, alright, I'm just gonna spam the down button until I lose.
Yeah, no, the game after you get like a really high thing or even a win is always like your worst game.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done well twice in a row. I think I've won a total of 10 times. I've gotten the Tetris Maximus or whatever it says.
Ooh.
So, but it's been a long time since I've gotten into it because it was eating up a lot of my time. So it's third place is your record so far?
Yeah, third place is my record so far, and then the last few times I've played it, it's been like later at night. And apparently that's when all the good people are playing, because I barely made it past 50. And I'm pretty good at it, so like, it's just insane.
What I did most recently was get the classic Tetris skin, because they were having weekend events for a while. They may still be doing it. It's been a while since I played, but I got enough points to get the classic skin. And for some reason, I play better with it, even though it seems like it should be harder because you don't get the nice fancy colors to like tell you what shape the piece is really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I do better because I have to actually look at what the shape looks like instead of just looking at a color and being like, I know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, but I did the specifically when the event was going on for Splatoon 2, I was playing a lot, and I got the Splatoon 2 theme. Hooray.
Oh, yeah, didn't Splatoon 2 like have its like final thing recently?
I think so. I saw something about that, and like a year ago I was mentioning something about the last Splatfest in Splatoon 2, and everyone's like, no, that's not happening now. And now it's a year later, and guess where we are?
Yeah, Splatoon 2, if you didn't know, would have these, I don't know how often they were. I don't have the game Splatoon 2.
It was every once in a while.
But they would, every once in a while they would have these competitions where you'd pick like between two fairly arbitrary things, like cake or pie, that sort of stuff. And the two hosts of the game, who are also like a singing duo, would like each represent one side of the team. And so you would play matches for whatever thing you had voted for against the other group, and whoever won the most matches, like that thing, won the Splatfest. And they had the most recent Splatfest was the last one for Splatoon 2, is my understanding. And it is interesting because like at some point I need to figure out what's going on with Splatoon, because there's apparently a lot more to it than I was originally aware of. Like the sort of lore if for lack of a better term, but like not just that, like the sort of world that's been built around the game has been very specific, and people were like somber, I would say, more than sad, right? Because like they weren't like upset that it was coming to an end. It seemed like everybody thought that this was a good time to bring at least the Splatfest sort of narrative to a close. But there was a pretty big response of people like, yeah, this was really cool, I was glad I was a part of it. It's like, neat. And then we'll just see what happens with Splathreen.
Spleen.
Wouldn't that be the best if, like, everybody was saying, oh, it's Splatoon. And they were like, oh, okay, I see what you want. And they go with Splathreen.
No, they go with just spleen.
Spleen.
And there's just a spleen on the cover.
Dan, have you played video games in recent times?
Yes. Been playing a little bit of Skyrim, and just downloaded the Jack and Daxter collection on PS4. Actually, I haven't.
Is that? Sorry to interrupt. Is that like a remastered collection, or is it just like the collection on PS4?
It's like remastered, like just up to the like upscaled and stuff.
Okay.
But I haven't played it since like almost a decade, I'd say. So nice to come back to it.
I guess I'm thinking about like the Crash and Spyro remastered games. Like, what is it? Is it like those, or is it
No, it's a port basically.
okay? An upscaled port.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack and Daxter I remember being like a really solid staple of the PlayStation eras. Like Jack and Daxter 2 was a very big PS2 thing that I recall.
Oh yeah.
So they were a 2D platformer, right?
3D.
3D. Yeah, sorry, 3D.
Yeah.
I thought 3D. I just said the wrong thing out loud.
Well, yeah, still one of my favorite platformers. Well, the first one at least. I don't think I ever actually beat the second or third, and I never played the racing game. So this is a good opportunity for me to right some wrongs, I guess.
So is there like what's like the thing about Jack and Daxter? Like what sets it apart, I guess, from the other 3D platformers that were sort of like the genre I feel like was not on its way like my gut is saying like on its way out, but not as like everything is bad, just like this is where it started trickling down because I think a combination of waning interest, oversaturation, and everybody liked those Halos and Call of Duties back then.
There's probably a number of factors with Jack and Daxter. The aesthetic is really pleasing. The gameplay is tight. The characters are fun. Like they've got Max Casella from like what was it, Sopranos or something to play Daxter, which was weird, the weirdest thing, but it worked really well. I think it had something to do with the fact that it was made by Naughty Dog as well. Yeah, that was like the next big game from the Crash people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't, with the Switch, you don't get a whole lot of that. They just tell you what NES games you get to play now. So I haven't done a lot of remastered stuff in a while. I guess part of it, too, is that I'm not I'm trying to think if there's stuff that came out when I was a kid that's been remastered. The only thing I can think of is Winwaker, which I didn't play when it came out, but that was right about when I started playing video games. Those early 2000s. Started really seriously playing video games. I guess you could count Fire Red and Leaf Green getting remade as Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I guess there's been a little bit, but not a whole lot, at least. We're still very much in 90s nostalgia territory.
Yeah, do Fire Red and Leaf Green really count, though? Because they were remakes on their own anyway.
Yeah, I'm just saying... I know, it's a stretch. I'm just trying to think of anything.
I have an update on Derek.
What's
he
Derek
just
up to?
received an achievement for introvert. Have a sim do nothing social for 24 hours.
That's my boy!
Oh, we raised him well.
What a good boy.
Let's see. What have I played in recent times? Probably Mario Maker 2. I've done a lot of Super Mario Maker 2. I've made 2 levels so far.
Hey.
One of them people seem to like. The other one people didn't that much. They may have disliked it because after I posted it, my creator score went down.
Oof.
Not by a lot. So maybe it was just because not as many people liked it, or maybe there's just like a general decrease in like engagement. Like you have to keep uploading stuff that people are playing for your score to go up. The first one was that level I made was based off of doing wall jumps into on-off switches, which people said was tough but fair because it was short. It was hard but short, which was the goal that I was making. The other one I tried to make a Mega Man-esque boss gauntlet. People didn't like that very much. It was probably... I tried to keep it straightforward and simple, but it was probably a little bit too hard. Like, it was probably something that people just would skip because they'd see the scope of it. And because they'd only ever encounter it in, like, the Endless Mario. I've managed to... So, in the Endless Mario and Super Mario Maker 2, it'll say, like, alright, you pick a difficulty level, and you'll just get new levels of that difficulty level, which are based on the clear rate, how many times people have beaten a level versus how many times someone starts a level. So, it's not necessarily how many people beat your level, because, like, if one person beats your level, but only after trying it 20 times, it'll still have a low clear rate, if that makes sense. And there may be some internal stuff that's not publicly displayed that may factor into it too, in terms of how they do it. So in normal, I've been able to go on pretty much indefinitely. I have more lives than what I started with. In expert, I think I've done 11 levels, which I feel is fairly impressive. And then in super expert, I've done 2. I've managed to do 2 levels in 30 lives. They're interesting, and it's definitely like it's got a lot. It's like the infinite content of it is fun. I haven't done any of the online stuff just because I've heard it's terrible. The lag and everything is just straight up awful. So I haven't even jumped into that. I did do multiplayer with a friend when it first came out, like couch multiplayer. We tried so here's the thing, because we were making fun of like the weird why they weren't letting you do online with multiplayer. And I think I figured it's not a good reason, but I think I understand why. Like, I think I understand how they messed it up so bad, so they can't just fix it. It's because even to do it locally, you can't like play online. You have to download the level into your course bot, which is like your repository for levels, and then you can play it multiplayer. You can't just like queue into a multiplayer. You can't just like click a course on the Course Explorer and click play multiplayer. You have to actually like physically download it onto your console. So for whatever reason, you just can't have 2 people doing online stuff at the same time, even on one Nintendo Switch. I don't understand why they designed it like that, but I can understand now why it's not just a switch they can flip.
Yeah.
Because they've messed it up very badly. But luckily, I just mostly play levels on endless mode, or sometimes I'll do the Course Explorer. I will say that one of the things that frustrates me is like sometimes levels are hard because they're well-designed challenges. But a lot of the times levels are hard because it's a normal level and then they put bad control mode on it. Like it's a normal level because you can put the moon in and like that gives the different like course areas like desert or grassland like a different theme. And so like one of them is everything is ice.
Oh.
And so you slide everywhere. One of them is everything's upside down. And it's just like, it's not necessarily... and I've played some good levels like that, but especially with ice in particular, it's like, this isn't hard because you designed a challenge. This is hard because you've deliberately made me use bad controls for a normal level. It's not very creative. It's just bad controls. So hopefully there'll be less of that. I don't know, because we're still in like month 1, peak popularity, everybody trying to get famous on Mario Maker.
Yeah.
So we'll see how things change as like time goes on. I don't know if they're going to do the thing, because they used to do a thing where like if your course wasn't really accessed, or maybe even if you like didn't enter, Mario Maker for a while, they would remove your course from the server. You could re-upload it, but like I would imagine just to clear server space, try to focus on people who are actively uploading, and instead of people who just uploaded one course 50 years ago. But I've been enjoying it. I am satisfied with my purchase, and hopefully I will get to have fun with people in person, not online, in the future.
People.
I think that's really it. I talked about Celeste already. I played some more Celeste. I played the I've been trying to go through the B-sides and collect. The B-sides are the bonus really hard levels. I've gotten through the first 3 worlds, but I'm on the Wind Place, and the Wind Place was already hard in the real game, and so playing the hard version of the Wind Place is just not... I've been stuck on it for a while. But I've gotten all the strawberries up to the second... the 4th level. So, I'm making progress. I've also been playing a lot of Pokemon Showdown. I've been getting back into that old vice. Just doing random doubles battles. Because singles are just full of stall teams. And it makes me sad. You just wait. You just use recover over and over again until you win. And it's very slow. So that's why I do doubles. All right. Did we cover everything that we wanted to talk about?
Not the M.A.S.H video game.
Anna, you put this in the chat. I don't understand. What is this?
M.A.S.H has a video game for the Atari 2600. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
I did not know that. Tell me more.
It calls you ferret face if you mess up on the surgery.
How does it call you anything as an Atari 2600?
It says it at the top. It says ferret face.
I see. It reads it to you.
This up because I've been watching M.A.S.H and I wanted to know.
What did you do? How did you find this? Explain yourself.
I typed M.A.S.H video games and Google, and this is what it told me to look at.
Is this the only one?
I don't know, but this is the only one that I saw.
This is where your search stopped.
Yes.
You were satisfied.
Search.
Alright, I'm gonna look at this real quick.
I think you're supposed to be collecting the people.
Those helicopters are just going to town, huh?
Yeah, I think you're supposed to be collecting the choppers and not getting hit. And then do surgery.
What is this? How accurate to M.A.S.H is this?
Incredibly.
Are you sure about that?
No, it's not.
Well, is this a video game you played in recent times, Anna?
It is not.
Oh. It's a video game you watched in recent times.
Yeah, 20 minutes ago.
Well, I think I'm going to say the words thank you for listening to the GameCola podcast now. Now he's doing surgery. Thanks for listening to the GameCola podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to check us out on our actual internet website, GameCola.net, or our YouTube channel, GCDotNet, the letter G, the letter C, the word dot, and the word net, for more gaming videos. If you missed it, make sure you check out the new episode of Hacks and Slash that just came out, episode 17, Shadow the Hedgehog and the Mystery of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. We had a lot of fun, and people seem to like it a lot. Mm-hmm. That's my impression, at least. Mm-hmm. It was a terrible experience to go through, personally.
No, well, it's not good.
Anna, what do people do if they want to find us on social media?
They can find us on the internet. They can find us at Facebook.com and also on Twitter as GameCola. We are at GameCola on Twitter, and we have a Discord that you can find somewhere, I'm sure. Just join us and talk about video games. It'll be a good time. Sometimes we talk about other things, such as the power of friendship and sending all of our powers to Joe so he can get a thing working.
So I can get the notification thing to work.
And it worked.
Yep, Jetty did it. He wanted to make sure that everybody knew that he did it with the spirit bomb technique. If you want to see other podcast stuff, you can follow us on iTunes. If you like the podcast, please be sure to rate and review us. It really helps us out, get recommended to other people. Or you could just recommend the show or any of the other GameCola podcasts like Hacks and Slash or the RPG Cast. Recommend your favorite episodes to a friend. That would really help us out too. I think that is all the things to talk about today. But before we go, Anna, what's Derek up to?
Oh, what is he up to? Oh, he's eating fruitcake.
As
so proud.
It should be.
It's 8:41 p.m. He has nothing but a book next to him. He's very disappointed. His little moodlet says, "What did I just eat?" from eating fruitcake. And he will be this way for 3 hours.
Have a wonderful time of day wherever it is you're listening to us, and we'll see you next month. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Derek. Oh, Derek.
Derek's great. He's talking to himself now. No, sorry, he's talking with friends. I'm sorry. He just keeps planning to talk with friends. That's all he's got planned for the night.